Hi, my name is Jim Dillingham. Welcome to part 4 of a 5-part series on optimizing your shift work operation. Today I'm going to talk about external factors. What I don't really want to get too much into is the optimizing your staffing level based on what the outside influencers are going to be with regards to shipping and receiving. I'm going to make the assumption that you've already taken that into account. And you said, look, we can't ship on the weekends, so we're not going to staff to ship on the weekends. We can't receive after 5 at night, so we're not going to staff to receive at 5 at night. Those considerations are important, but that's not what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about when I mean external considerations is what choices do your employees have? And those external considerations are what we're looking at. Employees have choices. They can come work for you, or they can choose not to work for you, but work for someone else. So what do we need to consider? One is we have to take a look at the labor availability. If unemployment is below 6%, you're going to find it very difficult to get quality employees. So the lower unemployment becomes, the more scarce labor is in your area, and employees become the price makers, and the companies become the price takers. When unemployment is very high, unemployment at 10%, the company becomes the price maker and the employees are the price taker. So we're looking at when that unemployment gets very low, which it is in today's economy, we have to be aware of the fact that employees have a lot of choices out there. There's lots of openings and a lot of places to work, and this is something that we need to consider. When employees do have choices, you're going to see your turnover start to go up, especially for the newer employees. Turnover, longer employees with you, the less likely they are to leave. But when they do have a lot of choices, the turnover is going to be high. Not only is there a cost associated with that, as I trained somebody and then they just left, there's a cost associated with we lost some productivity because now I have an unskilled person where I used to have a skilled person. So what a lot of times companies will do is they'll say, I'm trying to choose my optimal staffing level. I know that I have an annual turnover rate of, let's say, 35%. So I need to make sure that I always have enough fully trained people in my pipeline so that production doesn't drop when I start to experience that high turnover. So you can see that this right away is going to tell you your staffing levels should be higher during periods of low local unemployment than they would be if local unemployment was very high. The other part I want to talk to you about is cost. Employees don't always choose a job based on cost. They don't always leave based on making a higher wage, but it is a big influencer. So if I'm making $20 an hour working for you and they pay $21 across the street, I might not make that change because I'm comfortable here. But if they start paying $27 across the street and I'm making $20 an hour, they got my attention. Now am I going to go over there or not? You don't want your employees thinking that way. So you may say, well, yeah, I could raise wages. You know, money solves a lot of problems when it comes to retaining and attracting quality employees. But let's suppose you're not in a position to do that. Let's suppose your margins are very narrow. How can I compete on wages when the company across the street doing the exact same thing we're doing is paying 30% more than we are? One way you can do this is to understaff. When you understaff, you increase the amount of overtime. So employees can work overtime at your site and make 50% more during those hours than they can across the street. Now, the cost to you, as I discussed in an earlier presentation, is about the same. So somebody making $20 an hour might cost the company $30 an hour. But when that same person works overtime, they're now making $30 an hour and the cost of the company is $31 an hour. It wasn't 50% higher. So if your employees like overtime, if they like a lot of overtime, and you're having difficulty competing with wages with the local other employers, one thing you can do is make more and more overtime available. Now, this is a complicated issue. Overtime is a complicated issue. Predictability, how much is too much, alertness, those types of things. We don't want to force overtime on people all the time and they want time off. They need a work-life balance. Of course, all of those things are important. But the message here is if you have to compete on wages, don't be afraid to make overtime available to the people that want it It allows you to lower your staffing levels. It doesn't cost you more, and your employees can make the money that they need to stay instead of going across the street. Thanks for your time.